All right, bro, let me ask you something real quick. When was the last time you sat down and focused on one thing for more than 30 minutes without checking your phone? Now, I'm talking about really focus, not half focus while Netflix is, playing in the background, not with music going, not with notifications going off every 5 minutes. Just you, one task, complete focus. Can't remember? Yeah, that's what I thought. Your brain is overstimulated, man, and it's destroying your ability to build discipline in any area of your life. Look, I can tell you right now, I used to be the king of multitasking, or so I thought. I thought I was being productive. Phone in one hand, scrolling Instagram, laptop open with 3 tabs, YouTube, X, whatever, TV on in the background, music playing. I convinced myself this was normal. This was how you stay connected, stay entertained, stay productive. But here's what was really happening. My brain was getting hit with dopamine spikes every few seconds, every notification, every new video, every scroll through social media, boom, little hit of dopamine. And dopamine is your brain's reward chemical. It's what makes you feel good when you accomplish something, when you eat something you like, right? When you connect with someone you care about, when you're getting these, constant micro hits all day long, something terrible happens. Your baseline dopamine drops and your brain starts needing more and more stimulation just to feel normal. This is why you can't focus anymore. This is why you open Pornhub and you start flipping between tabs until you're edging until you find just the perfect one that you want. Dude, you are completely frying your dopamine, by the way. And this is also why reading a book feels like torture to you. You can't focus. This is why you procrastinate on everything important in your life. Your dopamine pathways are completely fried, bro. So here's what's happening in your brain. Every time you get a notification, every time you switch between apps, every time you scroll through social media, your brain releases a small amount of dopamine. Now, dopamine isn't just about pleasure, it's about motivation. It's what drives you to take action, to pursue goals, to push through difficult tasks in your life, to finish the hard workout, to start the business, to finish your school project, whatever. But when you're constantly overstimulating these pathways, your brain adapts. It says, okay, we're getting way too much of this stuff. Let's turn down the sensitivity. So now the things that should naturally motivate you, like to go approach a woman in real life, to actually get your work done, to do your school tasks, to, hit the workout, stay consistent with it, to actually eat the food that's going to be nourishing your body, to start the project that you've been thinking about, but you've been putting it off, right? You just overall improving yourself, building something, right? Something meaningful. These things, they don't give you the same dopamine that they used to. So instead, your brain craves more stimulation, more content, more notifications, more instant gratification. And this is why you can spend 3 hours scrolling through TikTok without getting bored or playing video games, but you can't spend 20 fucking minutes reading a book or doing push-ups. It's not that you're lazy. It's not that you lack willpower inherently. Okay? Your brain has been rewired to crave constant stimulation. And I realized this about myself when I was in college about 9 years ago. I'd sit down to work on something important, of course, obviously. And within 5 minutes, I was checking my phone. Not because I needed to, not because anything important was happening at all, just because my brain was used to getting that constant hit of new information. And it's just like your autopilot, not even thinking about it. And maybe you catch yourself doing it. But the worst part is I would tell myself I was just taking a quick break. Yeah, I just need a quick little break. Just taking a little break here for a second. Just going to check Instagram for 2 minutes. But 2 minutes turned into 20 turned into an hour. And you're down this fucking rabbit hole of being completely unproductive. And by the end of it, I felt like shit. Not satisfied. Not entertained, just mentally exhausted and frustrated with myself because I was wasting time. And that's when I realized my brain was basically addicted to stimulation. And like any addiction, it was controlling my behavior instead of me controlling it. So here's what you need to understand for today. If you want to build real discipline in your life, if you want to be able to focus on the things that actually matter that we're going to be working through over the course of this 12 weeks, you have to reset your dopamine pathways. And that means cutting out the overstimulation. Not forever, but long enough for your brain to remember what normal feels like. First thing, your phone. You need to create boundaries, okay? I'm not saying you throw it in a drawer and never touch it, but you need to stop letting it control your attention. Turn off all non-essential notifications. And I mean all of them. All the push notifications, the social media, news apps, games, turn them off. The only notifications you should get are calls, texts, and maybe your calendar. And we can dive more into specifically in our coaching sessions on how to customize your D&D settings, your focus settings, very specifically to your lifestyle. Yeah, man, because all this stuff is just, it's too much. A matter of fact, I pretty much keep my phone in D&D about 90% of the time because I am so locked in on what I got going on. Obviously, certain clients, work-related stuff, maybe my mom, dad, people that need to get in touch with me have access to me. But even, for example, bro, when I record my YouTube videos, I have every notification, like everything on my computer, my camera, everything is on D&D. As soon as this app pops up, everything's on D&D. Why? Because I'm right here with you. And I'm fully focused on connecting with you right now and getting this message across. Okay. The second is I want you to create a phone-free zone. Now, like what I'm doing right here, okay? Or if you're working on a task for school, for work, if you want to work on your business, whatever you're doing, when you're working on something important, put your phone in another room. I know it sounds extreme, but try it for 1 hour and see how much more focused you are. I have been in corporate sales for a long time. I actually got a phone timed lockbox. I'll drop you guys the link, but it was like $20-$25. And I would put my phone in there for an hour at a time. I got to a point where I would even put it in there for up to 4 or 5 hours to increase my productivity and my focus. Okay. And this takes a lot of discipline. We can work up to that. But the third thing is single tasking. Stop trying to fucking do 5 things at once. Pick one thing, focus on that thing until it's done, then move to the next thing, okay? This sounds very, very basic, but it's the basic shit that we gotta nail, okay? Now, I know this will feel uncomfortable at first because your brain is used to constant stimulation. You're gonna be like, holy shit, this is boring. And your little lizard brain's gonna start to go in that direction of like, oh, but I need to do this. Like, no, motherfucker, you need to sit here and finish your task is what you need. Be bored. Focus, because that discomfort is actually your brain starting to heal. And here's what nobody really talks about. When you're constantly overstimulated, you're not just ruining your focus, you're avoiding yourself. Let me say that again. When you're constantly overstimulated, you're not just ruining your focus, you're avoiding yourself. And this is a part of the detox and, getting rid of this overstimulation, right? This detox phase, resetting our dopamine. So we can start to get clarity on who we are, what we want, and where we're going. Think about it, right? When's the last time you just sat in silence and thought about your life? When's the last time you reflected on where you're going, what you want, who you're becoming? Most guys can't even handle 5 minutes of silence because their brain immediately starts craving stimulation. And this is just how you've been conditioned, right? But that silence, that solitude, that boredom, that's where all your best ideas come from. That's where you figure out what you actually want out of life, right? When you're constantly consuming content and getting pulled in every direction, constantly scrolling, constantly addicted to whipping open the dating apps and checking, and constantly addicted to the external validation and fucking letting people have you by the balls, having society have you by the balls, the matrix. You never get the chance to hear your own thoughts. You never get the chance to develop your own vision for your life. And that's what I want for all of you guys. But when you start cutting out the overstimulation, when you start protecting your energy, protecting your attention, something magical happens. Something really special happens. You start to remember. Because life isn't about creating yourself. It's about just peeling back all the layers of social conditioning to get back to your core, to your true self. That's something amazing that happens, right? It's the things that actually matter start feeling rewarding to you in your life again. When you can reset your dopamine, working out starts to feel good. Reading starts to, become enjoyable. Having real conversations becomes more interesting than scrolling through social media. Having sex with a woman instead of looking at pixels on a screen, being a cuck. The next time you are tempted to look at porn, I want you to zoom out and pretend that you're watching yourself with a bird's eye. Watching yourself jerk off to two other people have sex. How pathetic does that look? But when you can start to remove these distractions and reduce the overstimulation and be able to do the boring things, the things that should feel good, your brain remembers what it's like to be motivated by real goals instead of digital distractions. And your discipline, well, it comes back naturally over time, right? Because discipline isn't about forcing yourself to do things that you hate. We can't do that, right? It doesn't work. It's not sustainable. It's about being motivated by the right things. And of course, having a deeper why, right? A compelling reason. Why the fuck are we even showing up today? Why am I even here, right? When your dopamine pathways are healthy, doing the work feels good, bro. I'm telling you, making progress feels good. Building something meaningful feels better than consuming endless content. Look, I'm not saying you need to become a monk and never use technology again. That's not what I'm saying at all. But you need to be intentional about how you use it. Your attention is your most valuable asset. Attention is the most valuable currency in today's day and age. It's what allows you to build the life you want, to become the man you're capable of being. But if you're constantly giving it away to apps and algorithms designed to keep you distracted, you'll never build anything meaningful at all. Start small. Pick 1 hour today where you focus on one important thing without any distractions and see how it feels. Now, your brain might resist it at first. Actually, as a matter of fact, I'm telling you it will, okay? That's normal. That's just your overstimulated dopamine lizard brain pathways wanting their fix like an addict. But push through it. Build the mental calluses. Your future self will thank you, okay? I can tell you right now. And we're going to work through this as we go through the course. But remember, you're not weak. You're not lazy. Your brain has just been hijacked by a system designed to keep you distracted. So take back your control. Your discipline is waiting on the other side, my man. And I'll see you in the next one.